Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my biggest homeschool regrets. I've actually been wanting to make this video for a while now and I don't know why I keep pushing it off. But I'm really excited because today's video is actually a collaboration. And so today's video is hosted by Yuri from the Chan 7. Her YouTube channel is full of fun things, like obviously homeschool related items, different curriculum that she uses. She also does a lot of read alouds with picture books on her channel, as well as she does share tons of vegan recipes. So I'm going to link her channel down below. Make sure you check her out and let her know Ashlee from Gathered and Grounded sent you, as well as she put together a playlist with a bunch of other homeschool moms sharing their biggest homeschool regrets. So if you're interested to see what other regrets people have after you watch my video, check out the playlist as well. All right, so we're talking homeschool regrets here. So we're gonna get a little honest in this. I don't have an official number of homeschool regrets. I know I have my biggest regret, which I'm gonna be sharing more towards the end of the video. But there are a few things that I wish I hadn't done that I'm going to share as well. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashlee. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids. I have 10 and 8-year-old daughters and a 4-year-old son. I also work from home, but I work full-time. So on my channel, I share all things homeschooling. I love doing different curriculum reviews, as well as I just share my tips and tricks for busy moms, how I juggle it all. So let's get into my regrets. One of my regrets is honestly trying to do it all. Just because I work, I think that's a different dynamic, but I don't think I necessarily do anything more than, we'll say, just a normal traditional stay-at-home mom. In that, like most moms, I tend to take on a lot of things, and I did the same thing with homeschooling. When we first switched to homeschooling, because it was so abrupt, it wasn't planned for. It was literally like a couple week discussion. Well, it had been something on my mind for 6 months, and it was a discussion my husband and I were having, but then there just was a spark one day and I'm like, you know what, my kids, you're getting out of school. So one of my regrets is trying to do it all, and that was, you know, trying to teach every subject, have them, both of my daughters, doing so many independent things, like trying to fill all the boxes, like we're doing every single subject. And I mean, it was just, you know, crazy. It was lots of workbooks, lots of online programs, you know, doing school with one kid in the morning, doing one school with the kid at night, doing school on the weekends. And so I really feel like, you know, I was really trying to almost replicate public school because it was what we were used to. And I didn't want, well, at that time, I didn't want them missing out on things. Obviously now that I've been homeschooling, we're much different. It's much more simplified, at least I think in my eyes. And I'm not trying to fill any boxes except what I think is best for them in the future. So I would say, you know, unless you have like specific state requirements, which we don't, so like I was literally just making all these things up. You know, I think especially those younger elementary grades, don't try to do too much. There's going to come a time, so like I'm going to talk about my oldest daughter. She has one more, she's going to be in 5th grade next year, and that's her last year, we'll say, in elementary school. Then she's going into middle school, and at that time, because she does, I think, with how she talks about career paths and stuff, she probably will be more likely to go to college because she's very interested in things in the medical field. And so my job is to prepare her for whatever that may be. And so if that's her path, I need to make sure she's doing the right classes and courses. So in elementary school, it's not, she doesn't need to be doing a full-on, you know, 10 subject school day, because that will come. So that's what I'm saying, is that's coming. In middle school, she's going to have a lot of subjects, a lot of, you know, she's going to have to start doing subjects every day. when we're in these earlier elementary grades, we really need to just focus on basics and like building that love of learning and education and finding their passions, so we can really narrow it down in those older grades. So yeah, don't try to do too much, especially in those earlier years. I already know with my son, who's 4, we're just taking things way slower, really just enjoying the natural learning that he's doing. And I'm not per se like an unschooler or, you know, Charlotte Mason-ish. Definitely not me. I am more traditional with school, but you know, I really just value now enjoying those little moments when they're younger, having more fun, being more flexible, because we can. Because those more rigorous, structured things are coming, especially depending on like what your child's future may hold. And then also, you know, I just can't teach every subject. There's just no way. Even if I didn't work, I think I would be exhausted trying to teach everything, and I'm not an expert in anything. So really using really good resources, whether that's like video lessons, TV lessons, online courses, using different resources like that is something that have really helped in our homeschool. And you know, I regret not letting go sooner to like let those resources help our homeschool. Another homeschool regret I have is not being consistent, especially, you know, when things weren't working out. I was changing things quite frequently, and it was really hard for us to be like in some sort of consistent schedule. And so now that we are in a really consistent schedule, like we just know what's going to happen, we're in the flow, my kids are just like, they could start without me if they needed to. We just kind of know what's expected and what's going to happen, and sticking to that consistency. Now, that doesn't mean we're not flexible when we need to be, but having really that consistency in our homeschool has made a world of difference. So I do regret in the earlier years of our homeschooling not being consistent, and I don't want that to be confused with being like super strict and scheduled. It's more just like, you know, sticking with things, having a flow-ish or routine that my kids kind of could get used to and expect. Another homeschool regret I have is not doing enough fun activities. I really just don't like messes, and a lot of times fun stuff does come with messes. Thankfully though, you know, throughout research, I have found companies like Knowledge Crate who really allow me to do those fun things, but in a less messy way and more organized way. I've done videos on Knowledge Crates, but if you aren't familiar, they have seasonal crates with tons of educational and fun activities, and it's all organized for you. So, you know, your kid wants to do this activity, which we just got our spring crate. So they're going to make a paper mache globe. You get like a Ziploc bag of everything you need. So when we're ready to do it, I'm not hunting around for supplies. We grab the bag, we have the instructions, and we can do it. Yes, there's a mess, but there's not pulling all of our craft buckets out and like we just have what we need, we get it done, and it's a quicker cleanup. So yes, I regret earlier on, and this really is what I'm talking about, like with those younger ages, like I wish I would have done more activities and had known more about Knowledge Crates in our earlier years of homeschooling, because kids really love that and enjoy it, and that's what, you know, they remember. They love seeing all their crafts displayed in our homeschool room. And so that is something that I've been really intentional about this half of this school year, and when I'm planning for next school year, is doing those fun things. You know, that also includes like going into science, like doing the science experiments, watching the fun science videos, going on field trips, which I'm thankful I have, you know, family resources like my mother-in-law who tends to do those outings for me a little bit more, and that is because I work. I just can't, you know, miss work all the time to go on field trips. But you know, being intentional. So like we just finished reading Charlotte's Web a few weeks ago, and we have a local farm. Like it's very simple for me to just go bring my kids to the farm, and kind of, you know, see in real life what we were reading about. So just being more intentional about having more fun, more hands-on experiences is something that I'm getting better at, and I regret not doing more of. I don't think I've ever done an activity with my kids and been like, oh my gosh, I regret doing that. It's always, I regret not doing it. All right, and my final regret and my biggest regret in homeschooling is not homeschooling sooner. Especially with my oldest daughter, there was kind of multiple things happening when we chose the path of homeschooling. My oldest daughter had gone to 2.5 years, so her kindergarten year, her first grade year, and half of her second grade year in public school. And at that time, we had no intention of homeschooling. But when schools got shut down and she got sent home the rest of her second grade year, I was just like, this is, and I know those teachers weren't prepared, and I can't imagine trying to teach young elementary kids over a computer with no preparation or absolutely anything. And so it was just easier for me to take it into my own hands, but I still at that time didn't connect the dots like, you're homeschooling. And then, you know, fast forward, my middle daughter was going into her kindergarten year that fall. And I remember watching her log on to her laptop as like a 5-year-old, her first kindergarten experience. She couldn't read, and this teacher's like telling her to use a computer, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So again, I had to take her learning into my own hands. But when schools finally opened back up, I just felt I still was not fully like connecting, you know, what was all going on. And so they did go back to school for a short period of time, and it was just not a good experience for them, for me. And so when I finally made that decision to homeschool, there was no regret in that. My only regret is I wish I would have done this sooner. I just wish I wouldn't have even entertained the idea, especially sending my middle daughter to school. I wish I would have just solely started her from the beginning. And then my oldest daughter, I wish I would have taken her out even before, knowing what I know now, because there were things, it's not that she didn't enjoy school or was miserable all the time, but you know, 3 out of a 5-day school week, it was complaining, I don't want to get up, I don't feel good, I don't want to go to school. And knowing what I know now, it wasn't just like, first graders and second graders aren't like teenagers. Like they don't just make up those excuses for no reason. She truly didn't want to go to school, and now, you know, she gets up early as a bird to go to her co-op classes because she truly enjoys them, or she gets up to do her homeschool courses. Now, just that's what I mean. So like seeing everything now on the flip side, and even just like habits I'm undoing with my oldest daughter that my middle daughter doesn't have, is it's almost easier because she's been homeschooled longer per se of her, you know, education. So if you're watching this and maybe you're like on the fence, my only regret about choosing to homeschool was not doing it sooner. So there's that for you guys. But that's it. Other than that, I'm sure I could sit here and tell you that I regret buying too much stuff, but I don't know if I regret it. I kind of like having all my stuff. I like doing reviews and resources with you guys, but if you're not like a YouTuber or like someone on social media, don't buy so much crap. You don't need it. You really need like the most basic things to really school with your kids. So if you're watching someone like me, the reason I'm always buying stuff is, well, one, I just tend to do that, but it's because I'm on here reviewing stuff. So all right, so those are my homeschool regrets. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out Yuri's channel, the Chan 7, and the entire playlist she put together down below. I'd love to hear your biggest homeschool regret, so go down below in the comment section, let me know your biggest homeschool regret, and I will respond back to you guys. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and we'll chat soon. Bye guys.